if I told you that there is one simple habit this summer that could do these things? Reduce screen battles, build family relationships, improve reading skills, spark meaningful conversations, and create memories your kids remember for years. It doesn't require expensive curriculum, elaborate lesson plans, or hours of preparation. You see, many homeschool moms during the summer, they are thinking, should we keep schooling? What if they forget something? Do I have enough time to take a break? You see, what if summer learning could feel more like family connection and less like school? I'm Carrie Beck with Homeschool Coffee Break, where we help you stop the overwhelm so you can take a coffee break. Let's talk about summer learning and that one habit that you could do on a daily basis. Because I believe summer is the perfect time that you can shift from worksheets to stories, from checklists to conversations, and from assignments to curiosity. Learning happens naturally when your kids engage with great ideas. So, what is this one habit that I'm talking about? Read alouds. Read alouds give you so much more than just reading. They give you leadership, they give you learning, they give you character development, they give you family bonding and family conversation. And best of all, one book can work with many ages. I still remember when Steve was reading the Little Britches series, and we were driving, and that was a shared experience because every night we would read that together. And I remember we were driving in this giant van, and all of a sudden the kids start talking about how that grandpa in the story, he was so crotchety. I would never want my grandpa to act like that. Did I ask a bunch of questions? Did I give them a multiple choice test? No. They had thought about it and been so involved in this story, they could see the character of their own grandpa compared to the grandpa in their book. And they are thankful that their grandpa never acted like the one in the book. That is what I mean by family bonding, character development, family conversations. I want to challenge you. If you are not reading aloud, especially in the summer when things usually slow down, I want to challenge you to pick a book today or tomorrow and start reading 10 minutes a day before breakfast or after breakfast, before bed, maybe during lunch while the kids are eating and you have their full attention while their mouths are eating. Don't overthink it because consistency matters more than length. It is better to do 10 minutes a day every day this summer than to do 30 minutes today and 20 minutes in 5 days and then 2 days later. It is better to do a little bit. So schedule it, put it on your schedule so that you are actually spending time reading aloud. I don't know if you know this, but C.S. Lewis, who wrote The White Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and many others, he lost his mother when he was very young. Books became a refuge to him and a source of learning. He spent countless hours in mythology and fairy tales and classic literature. And what did they do? That imagination within those books inspired the Chronicles of Narnia, Mere Christianity, this I can't think of the letters one, the one where he's writing as a demon. His powerful Christian worldview came through because I think of the books that were inside of him as a child. He says a children's story that only can be enjoyed by children is not a good children's story in the slightest. What does that mean? It means that he believed great stories shape both adults and children. When he wrote the Chronicles of Narnia, he fully expected ideas to come forward at different levels. You think about it. I read Pride and Prejudice as a teenager. I've read it as a young adult. I just read it this last year. And every time there is something new because it's a classic book. What is a classic book? It's a book that never quits having something to say to you. The Chronicles of Narnia are one of those too. And the books that Lewis read as a child also impacted him and built that imagination. So let's talk a second about imagination, truth, meaning. C.S. Lewis says, reason is the natural organ of truth, reason, but imagination is the organ of meaning. What gives us meaning is our imagination. He believes this is where children grasp meaning. He says through stories, children encounter courage and sacrifice and honesty and loyalty and faith before they're able to actually explain it a lot of times. That's one reason read alouds are so, so powerful. They feed both the mind and the heart. They do more than teaching reading skills. They shape your kids' imagination, character, and faith. And too often, when we start school, we squelch that imagination and say, sit down and do a bunch of workbooks or read this little short story and then answer these questions. That is not education. We need to continue imagination. How do we get the great things in this world? How did we get to the tech places that we are? Because someone had imagination and creativity. And a lot of times that can start with really good books. Stories help children understand truth before they can fully explain it. Stories use imagination to give meaning to your children. Let's talk about some different age levels and what you could do this summer if you have elementary ages. Now, I know some of you have all ages. You'll just have to pick and choose. I think it's very important that you're just reading one book together as a family. But let's say most of them are elementary age. You want to focus on wonder, curiosity, and family connection. Picture books, chapter books, family read alouds, those are great places to start. So what could you do? You could read under a tree. We used to go up in the fort in the backyard and we could read together. You might have a backyard blanket reading. Go to the park and read. Read during popsicle time. Build a blanket fort. My kids love building blanket forts and then read underneath it. Or maybe just listen to some audiobooks in the car or when mom gets tired of reading out loud. Some simple activities that would be fun. Make it fun for your kids. Maybe draw your favorite characters. Create a craft that's related to the story. Act out scenes. Create a treasure hunt based on a book. I have to tell you, there's a book I've read about reading the Bible every day with your kids until you finish the Bible. And this lady started at ages 6 and under. And she said after the first 3 days, she felt like a failure. The kids interrupted her, all sorts of things. And they did it at breakfast time. Hey, can you give me another cinnamon roll? Can you do this? And all of a sudden, she is in the kitchen going, this isn't going to work. They're still in Genesis 3. She's doing the dishes, and she can hear in the other room her two oldest boys acting out Cain and Abel. That story had an impact on them. It was read aloud to them. Another person I think you have probably heard of is Laura Ingalls Wilder, who wrote the Little House on the Prairie series. Her mom was Carolyn Wilder, and she was a certified school teacher. She believed in education and literacy as essential, not optional, even during their difficult frontier years. It didn't matter where they lived. It didn't matter if there was scarcity or harsh frontier happenings around them. She always prioritized teaching her children to read. And what happened? Those family experiences inspired Laura Ingalls Wilder. And here we've got this great classic book series of Little House books. What if you were reading Little House in the Big Woods this summer? What are something you could do that would go along with this? You could make some homemade butter. You could learn a pioneer chore that they had to do. You could learn to cook over a fire. You could compare pioneer life to modern life. There's a lot of fun things and easy things for you to do that would be fun. It's not just writing and reading. You see, you don't need perfect circumstances. You need to create a culture of learning. This is just one idea that you can use to create that culture. Sometimes a single book can have a lifetime impact on your kids. So that is elementary. Let's go to the middle ages, turning reading into exploration. Middle schoolers often become passionate about specific topics. Right now, my 11-year-old is all into history. And so she's been reading different types of history books, historical fiction. Maybe your kids are into horses or planes, ancient history, missions, nature, sports. Hunter was into sports. He read a biography of Derek Jeter. We did some science out of a science book on baseball. This was during the regular. He did write a paper on them. But pick a topic that your kids are interested in and then let them read a fiction book about it. So he could have read a fiction book about baseball, a biography that was Derek Jeter, and then a nonfiction. His nonfiction was the science of baseball or the mathematics of baseball. And then it's all around one subject. Not that you pick out, Mom. Do not pick it out. Let your child pick it out. They'll be much more interested. And ask them, what surprised you? What would you like to learn more about? What would you have done differently within that story? And then maybe do one extra activity, watch a documentary, go to a museum, cook a related meal, build a model of something. You could build a baseball little triangle thing, baseball model of hitting the baseball bat or whatever. These things develop critical thinking skills, ownership, and independent learning. That is the beginning of it. And I didn't want my kids to always have to do everything a school teacher told them. I wanted them to think for themselves. I wanted them to take ownership so that they knew how to live outside of a teacher, that they weren't just following someone all the time. They could think for themselves, they could plan their day for themselves, and they can make choices for themselves. So, as you're reading your read aloud, ask one question. And you can ask it to all the kids. Hey, what stood out to you today? And then pause and see what they say. No quiz, no worksheet, no pressure, just a conversation. And that's it. You might be surprised at what your kids notice about the story. And if they say they were wearing a blue hat and it was really a red hat, don't correct them. Just let them involve themselves in that story. All right, so that's elementary, middle school, high school. Read aloud still matter. You know what happens? Many moms stop reading to their kids when their kids can read on their own. Big mistake. Many stop reading in high school. Big mistake. Why? Teens still need discussion. They still need to listen and develop their listening skills, especially as they go out in the world and build relationships. They need exposure to great ideas, and they still need family connection. We still read aloud in the morning. I would read to them. And then in the evening, Steve would read to them. We were more consistent during the morning, but we still read, several nights a week as Steve would read to them. What kind of things could you read if most of your kids are older? Maybe a Christian biography, maybe a mission story or historical fiction that they are interested in, maybe America 250 as it comes rolling around the corner. Great literature, the great books, some of the classics. Don't be afraid to read a classic just because you're afraid of the vocabulary. There are some great ideas. Might pick an apologetics book. I know that my 9 and 11-year-old as a family, they are going through, I think, tiny apologetics. And that is more of a workbook, but they're reading the Bible to be able to come up with their apologetics. So ask them questions like, what character stood out today? What would you have done if you were in that person's place? How does this compare to scripture? That is so important in our high school years. Always compare what you're reading to the Bible, biblical worldview. What leadership lessons do you see? What kind of leader could we learn a lesson so that we could become a better leader as an adult? So at this level, choose one biography or one classic and read it together. And then once a week, discuss it. Discuss it over ice cream. If kids like coffee, go to a coffee shop, evening walks, breakfast, make it simple. And don't make it extravagant, something simple. So you have ideas for elementary, middle school, and high school. Now, how do we bring it all together? I do think you can take some of these and pair it with just regular summer experiences like stargazing or nature walks. If you're reading about Harriet Tubman and the Freedom Walk, go out and look at the stars. She followed the North Star to help get those slaves out of slavery. If you're reading about a historical time, bake something, cook something that goes along with that time period. Just last week, we were reading with my 9-year-old, why don't you get a horse, Sam Adams? And during that time, their breakfast was Johnny cakes. So she made these, it was like corn pancakes. But we found out they're actually called journey cakes. And I said, and she was telling her dad when her dad got home, do you remember why they're called journey cakes? She goes, because you can take them on a long journey. And that's right. They would cook these because they would last many days on a journey and they wouldn't go bad. So she learned something about that. Maybe have family game night around that, whatever that topic is. And then continue to ask, what do we learn? What do we notice? And what does this teach us about God? Summer becomes intentional, relational, and memorable. Not just educational, relational, intentional, and memorable. You don't have to recreate school during the summer. You don't need elaborate plans. You don't need expensive curriculum. One book, one conversation, one family read aloud. That can inspire a love of learning. And many of you are looking, how do I inspire a love of learning? Easiest way I know how, read alouds. So this summer, focus less on check boxes and more on creating moments that matter as a family. Now, to help you, I have got a resource called Read Aloud Magic. It gives you, I don't know how many, 20 or 30 of our favorite read aloud books. It shows how to run read alouds and some different ideas that can help you. And you can get that in the show notes wherever you are listening, or description at YouTube. You'll discover some family read aloud favorites, tips for making reading engaging, and just simple ways to turn books into meaningful family learning experiences outside of a workbook. Will you take the read aloud challenge this summer? Will you start this week reading just 10 minutes a day throughout the rest of the summer? Hey, I am Carrie Beck with Homeschool Coffee Break. We'll talk to you next time.